I'm Cathy Neptune and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to share with you tips, tools, and recipes to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. We're doing a Mexican fiesta meal today. You're going to love it. It's a little spin on something easy, yet it's festive. Great for family. You can modify the size of what you want to do because we're doing tortilla cups, which we're going to make them out of flour tortillas, and then we're going to do a Mexican caramel flan, which is so easy and refreshing and light in the summer, and we don't do a lot of custards these days, so I thought it'd be nice to revisit that, and especially the way we do the caramel. And then we're going to do a special drink, an agua fresca, with some coconut flavorings and some lime. And even we're going to spice it up a little bit. I think you're going to like it. So let's get started. We're going to start with our flan first of all. And get a bowl here. And I have my eggs. And I think I always mention it's important to have your ingredients at room temperature, especially eggs, because they blend a lot better that way. And I have some of our custard cups. And I have over here on the stove top a cast iron pan that I'm boiling some water because we're going to put these custard cups in the boiling water to protect the outside so the eggs don't scramble. So you can either do it this way, or if you have a glass baking dish, of course, don't put it on the stove. Boil your water, put your cups in there, and then add water very carefully so you don't splash any into the custard. So I'm getting that ready, and I'm taking some brown sugar, and this is going to be our caramel element. And you can do like a sugar syrup and boil it on the stove, and that takes a lot of time and effort. So what I'm doing here is just a shortcut, and we're going to take, I have a little press here, or you could put like a spice bottle in a plastic bag, and you can do the same thing, but I'm just tamping down the brown sugar like that, about a tablespoon of each, that we're going to put in here and bake this in a water bath. This is going to come out like a caramel. And you want to do this at the last minute so the brown sugar doesn't get too hard and coarse. You know what I'm going to do? See if this works better. It's kind of sticking on there. I'll take a paper towel. You could take, yeah, that's better. See, like that. Or you could take a plastic bag and do the same thing. Not a lot, because we're going to put sugar and sweeteners into this custard. And I love this custard because it's just a few simple ingredients. We're not using cream. We're using canned milk, evaporated milk, not the sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk, which is a good pantry item to have on hand. Oops, that goes on the bottom. And that's pretty easy to do. Make sure it's all patted down, and that's to keep it on the bottom so that it doesn't float up. Set those there. Check on our water. It's simmering, so I'm going to turn this off. And I have my oven preheating at 350. Now we're going to take our eggs, crack them on a flat surface, not the edge of the bowl, because you get eggshells that way. So 3 whole eggs, room temperature. And a little trick to custard, you may not know, but you don't want to use a mixer or beat any air into your eggs, as little as possible. Of course, you have to mix it, but you don't want to beat a lot of air in there. So we're going to whip the eggs just to incorporate the whites and the yolks together. Just makes it easier. And we're going to do a pinch of salt, not even 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then we're going to add a little bit of sugar, 1/3 of a cup, and I'm going to give you all the measurements at the end of this show. And it doesn't have to be dissolved. That'll happen in the oven, but you do want to mix it so that when we pour it into the cups, it's all incorporated evenly. A little bit of vanilla, about a teaspoon of good vanilla, because that's where you get your flavor. And then we're going to slowly add this whole, this is a 14 ounce, let me see, 12 ounce can of evaporated milk, a little at a time. Such an old-fashioned dessert, but it goes so well with the spicy Mexican food that we're going to make. And we're not going to make it awfully spicy. And that's all there is to it. You can see it's pretty well blended. Very simple to do. And then what I do, I'll put this here. What I like to do is, so we don't disturb the brown sugar on the bottom, I like to pour this over a spoon so that it just, you can see how gently it just cascades over the brown sugar that we've put in there. Just so we don't disturb that crust that we made. I mean, how easy is this? And they're pretty much pantry ingredients that you have on hand. Perfect. And you can either serve these warm or you can chill them. I like to serve these kind of warm because the caramel comes out on the bottom. I'm going to bring over our pan and I'll show you how we're going to do this. You have to be very careful with this that you don't spill any of the water into your custard cups. It's very hot. And you can do a 9x13 baker if you'd like. So set that on a hot pad because it's very hot. We're going to set these in, and you want the water to come up, about a little bit on the bottom, probably halfway up. And then we're going to pop this into the oven at 350. Space them out a little so they get all evenly cooked. We're going to put those in the oven for about 45 minutes and then take them out of the water and let them set at room temperature. And we'll unmold them. You're going to see it's a fabulous presentation. So I'm going to pop these in the oven, and when we come back, we're going to start on our taco bowls. It's going to be fun. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We're going to start in on our tacos, taco bowls. Why don't you see this? This is going to be good. And I have a skillet heating on a stove, a nonstick skillet, and I'm going to chop an onion because we want to add flavor wherever we can. So I'm going to do some onion first and then add some ground beef. And you can use any kind of onion. These are just regular yellow onions. And I like to cut them down the center and do a cross slice and over. And I'm doing half a recipe, but the recipe that I give you at the end of this video is going to be for serving 4 people. But today I'm just doing 2. I'm going to put this, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to my skillet. Just so the onions caramelize. Just to soften them, really. And then I have some beautiful lean ground beef, half a pound, and some taco seasoning. Now you can make your own. I like to buy the store-bought, or buy those little packets and use like half an envelope because we're doing half a recipe. So just softening those in the skillet. And then we're going to take the ½ pound of ground beef and my taco seasoning. Add that in. And the onions will continue to cook. And about a teaspoon of taco seasoning mix. More or less to your taste, whatever you like. Now at this point you could add some jalapeno peppers, but I like to put a sliced jalapeno on the top and let everybody monitor their own heat. Because you never know what people are going to like if you're doing this for company. I'm going to put on the timer for our custard. That's going to be at 350 about 45 minutes, so I'm going to do another 38. Okay, let's see how that goes. And I like to use a fairly lean beef when I'm doing this. Now here's the fun part. We're going to make a taco bowl, and I'm going to warm this up in the microwave for about 10 seconds on a little pan here. Let's do about 15 seconds just to warm them up, and it makes it pliable. And I have a cast iron dish or whatever size that you want to do. Try and figure out what portions you want to do. And I spritz that with a little bit of vegetable oil here so that it gets nice and crispy. And this is very hot. And you don't want to get it too crispy, but center it in the bowl. See how nice and pliable that is? So you kind of pat it down. And then I get a bowl that kind of fits in. Now I think I'll use the smaller one, an oven-safe bowl. And I think I'll spritz a little more oil on the top, just a little veggie oil. Or you can use that non-stick spray. I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 8 minutes. Check it after 8 minutes to get it crispy. I'm going to stir our meat and our onions and our seasoning. That's getting nice and brown and caramelized. Like that. Okay, and I'll show you what I've prepped. I'm going to do a dressing. I'm going to finish chopping this onion to go on top if you want a little more onion. You could even do this recipe like a buffet and leave all these toppings on the table and have everybody make their own toppings, which is fun to do. Like I said, this is a great company, very casual type of entertaining. Good way to go. So we have some onions. Look at these. How cute are these little cherry tomatoes? Tiny, tiny, so there's no chopping involved, and they're very colorful. These are so sweet, and they come in a little container, so perfect portions. Some shredded lettuce, and I actually found corn on the cob this time of year. If you don't have that, you could use the frozen fire roasted corn or regular corn or canned corn, and I've seasoned this with just a little hint of salt and pepper. Black beans, and I do this for color and fiber, and of course the flavor is wonderful. And I've rinsed them very well and drained them, and those are right out of a can. So we're not going to use all of that. We have some cheddar cheese and a cheese blend of all different regular cheddar cheese, a little American cheese. You could use Asiago cheese if you'd like. And that's all shredded ahead. So all of this you could do ahead of time, and you're good to go. Now for the topping, I'm going to make a dressing, and I'm going to do half a recipe here. to make it easy, let me check on our meat. That is looking good. Now, what I'm going to do here is the meat is all cooked in the onions. I'm going to make a little center pile. And I'm going to take a little cheese and I'm going to melt this. You could do this in the oven, but this is just easier. And I'm going to spread a little cheese on the top. And we're going to add a little more later, but this is like going to go on the bottom of your taco shell. I'm going to just turn the heat off and put this back on the stove. And I'm going to cover it so it's going to melt the cheese on top. The custard looks really good. So what we're going to do, and again, I'm doing half a recipe here. Get a nice whisk. And we're going to add, the total recipe calls for equal amounts of half a cup of sour cream and half a cup of yogurt and half a cup of salsa. So this is the yogurt, and this is plain Greek yogurt, not flavored with vanilla. And then we're going to do half of a cup, which would be a quarter cup of sour cream. So equal amounts. I'm going to save this to put on the top of our tacos. A quarter cup of salsa, and you can make this spicy or not, however you'd like. And then a little bit more of our taco seasoning, which just flavors everything. And you can get these ingredients if you want to make your own, like I said, online. So about, half a tablespoon. Okay, so we have here, we're going to use about let's say a good half a lime, half of a squeezed lime. So we're doing half a recipe. So just probably a teaspoon of fresh lime juice. And why I like this menu today is we're going to use a lot of these ingredients several times. So you measure and you mix once and you have all your ingredients prepped and you're good to go. So we don't even need a whisk really. And I always like a little pinch of salt. And that is going to be our dressing. So I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to prep some fresh limes for something we're going to do a little later. And I think I'm going to do some lime wedges as well. So we're going to skewer these. It looks like summer here, doesn't it? So I'll put that over here. We're going to use those a little later. And then we have some chives. This is more or less for a garnish on top of our salad. Whenever I can add color and texture, I'm all for it. Just a few scallions for the garnish on top. You don't need a lot. And remember my little tip for scallions. When you buy scallions at the store, they have that little root end. Don't cut those off and throw them away. Take them and put them in potting soil. And you'll have chives all year long. And they take about 5 days to a week to replenish. You'll have a big long stalk and you'll have them all winter long. And it's so nice to go to your indoor garden and pull out the herbs that you need. So we're all set with this. Let's check our cheese on the stove. Oh yeah, see how that's melted and it's staying warm. And our taco shells are cooking away and getting nice and crispy. And I'll show you one that I did. This is a smaller version. And I used a springform pan and a smaller, like a cupcake a little custard cup like we're using in the oven. And I spritz that, and look at that. It makes a cute little bowl. So you could do like child size, or you could even do these in a muffin pan and cut a circle with a cookie cutter and put those, tamp them down, use a little bottle or a jar, and soften your tortillas and put them in little muffin cups. And you have a wonderful appetizer cup. And you can put in a queso cheese. You can do just salsa and chips on the top and present them. It makes a wonderful, cute presentation. So there's a few options for you. I'm going to check on our little cups, and when we come back, we'll assemble everything. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We're going to do a very light, easy, refreshing summer drink, an agua fresca. And we're going to do it with lime. And look what I found at the store. This was like Disneyland for me. This is a key lime clear and sparkling soda. Okay, we're going to use that. And this was over the top. This is a seltzer coconut. Really? I mean, they have everything imaginable. And you can bump it up. They have a key lime drink, and these are going to be like virgin agua fresca, no alcohol. And they have recipes that you can use cream of coconut. And I thought that'd be a little heavier or richer. I wanted to keep this light and refreshing. And you can do different fruit drinks too. We're going to do some fresh lime juice as well. And also, I was thinking the limes, we're going to do some skewers with fresh limes. There are recipes that you take the whole lime and cut it into chunks and put the whole thing in the blender with the peel and everything. And you can strain it if you want, because it has a heavier texture. And you can use that in place of just lime juice. So I thought that was interesting. So we have fresh limes, and we have some fresh mint and some chilled glasses. We're going to do 2 of them. And you want equal parts. Let's start with the clear key lime. And we're going to do equal parts. And you can just eyeball this. So about that much. And then some of this wonderful coconut. You know what would be good in here too? You could blend some, use pineapple juice or blend some fresh pineapple. Or you could do guava. That'd be nice. Mango juice. They have so many different flavors. We'll do that. A little, I'd say about a teaspoon of fresh lime, just to bump up that lime flavor. That's good. And here's what I like to do. It's kind of reminiscent of a margarita. A little pinch of salt. And you could rim the glass with a little bit of salt if you want. That's like 2 pinches. And we'll put that there. And then we're going to take our skewers and take a lime slice. Let's start out. I'm going to do this from the top down. A mint leaf. And look what we're going to do. We're going to spice it up with some jalapeno. And be very careful not to touch your eyes after you do this. But I'm going to do a few slices. And I'm going to do the rest to put on top of our salad. A few more slices. And I'm leaving the seeds in because we're going to live on the edge today. And I'm not putting this to the salad, but I'm going to put this on the side, like I said earlier, so people can add their own. And we're going to add the little jalapeno slice right through the chunk of lime. And I like to set it a little bit lower so that it goes into the glass. And let's do the other one. Some mint leaves. I hope you're going to grow mint in your garden this year because it's so nice. It makes such a nice garnish. And these are just regular skewers. That goes on the top. A jalapeno and a wedge of lime. I like to sink it in just a little bit like that. So it goes underneath, and those are your beautiful agua fresca with lime and coconut. That says summer, and summer's almost here. It's not too far off. So when we come back, we're going to check out our taco bowls in the oven, and we're going to load them up with all good toppings and check our flan as well. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We finished our little tortilla bowl in the oven, or you could do the other size too if you wanted a little deeper one like this one. Either way, it depends on your serving sizes too. So whichever one you'd like for presentation. And then you remember we did our meat mixture and we melted the cheese on top, which saves an extra step for you. And if you have time, you could even melt the cheese in the oven if you want. This is like a big taco, and it's so easy to do. Now, if I was doing this for a dinner, I would present it on a table like this, and then with all the toppings that you'd like. So let's do some lettuce. This is kind of a build your own, as much as you'd like. What else are we going to do? Oh, let's do some black beans. Look at the colors in here. Isn't that nice? Remember to rinse them first. A little bit of our fresh corn, or whatever corn you have available. And it's okay if it spills over the top. That just makes it look rustic. And some, how about these cute cherry tomatoes? And they're so tiny, I don't really slice them. Put a few on top like a garnish. These are so nice. Oops. That one was a wild one. Put a few on the top. What else do we have? A little bit of onion. And I like green onions. I'll save those for the top. What else? A little bit of cheese. You think it's getting tall enough there. And don't forget our wonderful crema dressing that we made. And I wouldn't do that till the last minute, or everybody helps himself. And then some green onions for color. So you could see you can adapt this for just about any taste. And then a jalapeno on the top. How gorgeous and fun would this be? We're going to take a little towel and clean off the edges like you were in a fancy restaurant. And we're going to set that right there. How's that? Look at our beautiful caramel flan. And I'll show you in the bottom. Look at how beautifully that's set up. And that was only 45 minutes. And remember that brown sugar that we put on the bottom? It makes like a caramel sauce underneath. And if you let this set, this is still a little warm from the oven. If you let it set, you can take this and turn it upside down, and the caramel kind of hardens a little bit, the brown sugar, and creates a sauce all over the top of your custard flan. That is so light and so refreshing. And don't forget our agua fresca with lime soda and coconut soda, fresh lime juice, a wonderful addition of a jalapeno pepper and a mint leaf and a lemon wedge. This says Mexican spring is here. This is a wonderful family fiesta, and I hope you try these recipes. It's easy. Modify it according to your family's taste. You could just do a lime and oil vinaigrette if you'd like as well, if you want to keep it even a little bit lighter. But don't forget our dressing had yogurt in it as well, so that kind of helps a little bit. So thank you all so much. Try these recipes and keep me posted. I love hearing from you, all your tips and suggestions and your feedback. It makes it fun. So thank you for watching, and may the fork be with you.